Toyota makes history on the first day of action on track at Daytona. Plus, not your night if you're Dale Jr. or Junior Motorsports fans. And Christopher Bell says that practice was not needed on Wednesday at Daytona. Welcome back to the Breaking Bob channel. Hope y'all are doing well. It's a post Daytona 500 qualifying episode. As always, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I'm always talking NASCAR on a daily basis, and there's going to be a lot of content this weekend from the channel, so make sure you're stay tuned for that. Let's jump right into it because Daytona 500 qualifying just wrapped up a few minutes ago here on Wednesday night. And without further ado, well, history got made tonight. Toyota finally broke through with their first pole in the Daytona 500, going back to when they joined NASCAR in 2007 as the latest OEM to join the sport. It was a long time coming as Chase Briscoe, in his new digs in the 19 car, taking over from Martin Truex, hitting the ground running, getting Toyota their first pole, and Joe Gibbs his second pole, going back to Bobby Labonte back in the 98 Daytona 500. So congratulations to Chase Briscoe with a great debut for Joe Gibbs Racing. You also had Austin Cindric on the outside front row, qualifying second for the Great American Race. So Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric will set the Daytona 500 front row for Sunday afternoon. And it was a strong showing for JGR overall in qualifying tonight. 3 of their 4 cars made it into the top 10 final round. And in that final group of top 10 qualifiers, it was an assortment of drivers: 4 Fords, 3 Chevrolets, and 3 Toyotas. JGR with all 3 of the Toyotas. In the Chevrolet camp, Kyle Larson was the only Hendrick Motorsports driver to make it into that top 10. Hendrick coming in had 9 of the last 10 Daytona 500 engines qualifying for pole, 8 of those being Hendrick Motorsports cars. And instead of that, the other 2 Chevrolet drivers, the brothers Dillon, Austin and Ty Dillon. I'm not really as shocked to see Austin there because, well, RCR has brought a lot of speed to Daytona and super speedway racing before with their engines. But to see Ty Dillon and Kaulig Racing up there, that was a shocker. But congratulations to Ty Dillon in his new camp with the 10. Tonight, if you were in a new ride, it seemed like it was a good move for you. Not only did I mention Chase Briscoe and Ty Dillon, but Josh Berry in the Wood Brothers 21 also making it into the top 10, as well as Ryan Preece of RFK Racing in that third entry, that number 60 car. Ryan Preece looked like he was going to be the man to beat before Briscoe came in and set a blistering pace in the first round and then matched it again in that second final qualifying round. I do expect to see his teammates at RFK, Brad Keselowski and Chris Buescher, pushing into that top 10 immediately, though, once green flag falls. They are known to be one of the top pairings in the sport on these drafting style tracks, and Ryan Preece looking like a very good addition into that team. So Ryan Preece fans, pretty good night for you overall moving forward. You also had Joe Logano in that top 10 with Austin Cindric, his teammate, on the front row. Logano wasn't able to quite match that pole speed from last year, but will have a good car as always heading into this drafting style track. The NASCAR champion of 2024 looks to continue his streak from Phoenix. That being said, though, tonight did snap a 9-race streak for Ford on drafting style tracks for poles. Front Row Motorsports completely locked out the grid last year on these tracks. They did have speed, but not quite what we were expecting, I don't think. But once again, I urge everyone to not panic for the most part about qualifying runs at the Daytona 500. A lot of times, it's just the trim. A lot of these cars have a lot more downforce, and they're going to be more able to draft instead of being that solo speed qualifying run. That being said, though, there was a little bit of an element to the speed tonight because if you were an open entry car, you had a chance to qualify in tonight. Now, there were, again, 9 entries looking to make it in. 2 will make it in tonight. 2 will race their way in the duels on Thursday night. I think coming into the qualifying session tonight, you expected to see the Chevrolets with Elio Castroneves as his Trackhouse Project 91 and Justin Allgaier in that Junior Motorsports number 40 entry to lead the way, but that was not the case at all. Even in the pre-race, Justin Allgaier was a pick to be on the pole for the race tonight, and instead, he will have to race his way into the Great American Race on Thursday night. That being said, Dale Jr. is enjoying the moment. You can see this tweet right here, and he was at the track unloading in the garage at 6 a.m. this morning saying, this could be Junior Motorsports' only attempt in the NASCAR Cup Series, so he wants to soak in every moment he can. And it's just great for the sport to have Dale Jr. and Junior Motorsports in the Cup Series at the Daytona 500. This is what it's all about. That being said, the speed was not there tonight because Not only did Toyota make history on the pole, but they showed speed in their cars from top to bottom. I did a video the other day ranking the open cars' potential qualifying run, and I said that Jimmy Johnson and Martin Truex Jr. could make it in if things go right. Well, things went very, very right for those two tonight. Truex with very good speed in that Tricon number 56 entry, and Jimmy Johnson getting Legacy Motor Club into the field on speed this year instead of having to make a last lap pass like last year. So Toyota getting both open entries in on speed. That is massive for Toyota Gazoo Racing, not TRD anymore, Toyota Gazoo Racing in North America for 2025 and beyond. That's going to get a little hard to get used to, but regardless, a massive, massive night for Toyota's super speedway qualifying hopes moving forward. You heard Chase Briscoe in the post-qualifying run say, in the offseason, this was what was harped on at JGR. Let's get better at these super speedway qualifying runs. Clearly, Toyota found something in the offseason. But again, tomorrow night will be the dual races where two more drivers will make it in. Elio Castroneves is already in. I hope we just get a 41 car field. I really do. But regardless, there is one more thing I have to talk about before we get to Christopher Bell's comments today. I got to mention one thing about Fox's broadcast tonight. Wasn't horrible, but to have two open entry cars not get their qualifying attempt on camera, on TV. You had the NY Racing attempt with JJ Yeley not even shown once on TV. You needed Corey LaJoie coming down from his qualifying run when they came back to broadcast. Part of the allure of qualifying is that not every car makes it. So these are the cars that we're paying attention to. So for them to not give JJ Yeley even a second of screen time, Fox has, that's a disservice to them, to their sponsors, to everyone involved. You've got to make sure that every car has at least a moment to be featured in the Great American Race because every entry is, in theory, important. And this all comes full circle to Christopher Bell's comments this Wednesday morning after NASCAR allowed a practice attempt for teams before qualifying shakedown this morning. Christopher Bell said they just basically rode around. It wasn't really anything that they needed to do. Well, that's great. It may be not for teams like Joe Gibbs Racing, but for some of these smaller teams, these open entry teams, this is their chance to make sure everything is prepared right and that everything will go right for their qualifying run. There is no need for your first time to be on track to be your qualifying run. You heard Elio Castroneves in the pre-qualifying show today say, if it wasn't for that session today, I would have been a lot more nervous tonight. I think it just does drivers good to have at least the option. Nobody's making you. Justin Haley and Spire Motorsports didn't opt into practice today. That's fine. But for the teams that need to at least go and shake down the cars, make sure everything is running right, it's the Great American Race. Give them that opportunity. So I think it was a little tone deaf by Christopher Bell. Hopefully he comes around to the fact. Brad Keselowski, I know, is a big proponent of practice, and I think maybe that's just that old school mentality maybe. But regardless, we need more Brad Keselowskis in the world, unless Christopher Bell's saying we don't need practice. We need as much time on track as possible, if you ask me. But let me know your thoughts down below about Toyota's massive night at the Daytona 500 qualifying. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Like this video if you liked what you saw today. Helps me out a ton here at Breaking Bob. And I'll see you tomorrow night for the Daytona duel. So stay tuned for more, folks. Thanks for watching.